So you might have seen that Revolut have announced a new loyalty scheme called RevPoints, which they are selling as a great way to earn air miles and other rewards. I want to quickly take you through exactly what they look like and whether you should be considering them and if there are different options that might serve you better. So first of all, how do you get RevPoints? What are they? Well, it doesn't matter which Revolut account you have, you'll be earning some of these points. How many points you get for every pound you spend, though, that does depend on the kind of account you have. Now, if you have the standard Revolut, which I think most people have probably got this one, has all sorts of features, such as, free spend overseas, the ability to kind of put some currencies on there, some nice little features in terms of budgeting. That doesn't cost you anything every single month, and you will earn one Rev point for every £10 that you spend. The Plus tier, £4 a month, $3.99 every month, that will get you the same number of points every single month. It's only when you start paying more for the other plans do you get more points. So with Premium, which is $7.99 every single month, you get 1 point for every £4 you spend. With Metal, which is $14.99 a month, you get a point for every £2 you spend. And if you have Ultra and pay a mammoth £45 a month, you get 1 point for every pound that you spend. So that's how you earn them. There are other ways, just generally on your spending, there are a few other ways you can get some bonus points. There are things called challenges. Now, these challenges, generally you're going to find them often when you sign up. So for example, you could get a welcome bonus the first time you activate RevPoints. That might involve you changing your particular tier that you're on. So if you go from Plus to Premium, whatever it is, there might be some bonus points available. Paying from your pocket, 10 points. Staying within your budget, 10 points. Referring a friend, 500 points. Donating to charity is in there. Other kind of thing. Basically, they want you to use the different features within Revolut. If you do that, they're basically it's gamifying it, aren't they? They're giving you rewards with these points for doing these little things, which means you're trying these different features and maybe you'll keep doing those as you go along. So they're kind of the main ones which are there. The other thing, though, the other way you can earn points, and potentially more points, is by using the roundup or the spare change function within the Revolut app. This one at the moment, you're probably familiar with this with other apps doing this, Monzo, Chase, Starling, many of the others do it as well. Let's say you spent £1.80, 20 pence of that would be sent to a savings pot normally. You can instead change those into points, into Rev points. And it works out roughly for every pound that is added up to within this function, normally would be £1 in cash, you'll get 50 points. Now, what's important to know here is the higher tiers of Revolut memberships, you can choose how you want to do this. If you're on the free tier and you want to have Rev points, one, you have to turn on spare change, and two, it looks like you'll also have to have those points contained as Rev points. So you're effectively then buying Rev points as you go along, because we'll talk about the redemptions in a minute. Some of them are relatively restricted. So really this is about you buying points every time you're doing it indirectly rather than moving money into savings. Because once they're in Rev points, it's hard. You can't swap them back into cash. You can use them for spending, but you can't swap them back into cash. So it's really important, if you are going to go down that route, that's effectively what you're doing. You're buying these points. Now, how do you use them then? So one of the big things you may well have seen it kind of sold as is different air mile schemes. And you can trade them into 30 different airlines, including Avios, which is for a lot of people who are collecting air mile points. They're doing it with Avios, and they're looking, probably why there's a lot of interest with this now, like, oh, how can I earn more Avios points? This could be a way of doing it. Basically, 1 point equals 1 air mile. There are, again, a number of different schemes you can do that with. You can also swap them for something called stays within the Revolut app, basically hotel bookings. Again, there are different valuations there on how that works. Revolut Experience is another way you can use them. So when Zoe looked into this on the site to write the full analysis, there were things like boat trips and stadium tours and other things on there. But again, that is sold. One of the benefits, they say you can use your points for these experiences. And this is the closest it comes to cash. You can also use them for something called Revolut Pay. So this is when a retailer that they work with, and not every single retailer will let you use this Revolut Pay function, you can complete a transaction using your points. And here it looks like 800 points works out at £8. And that would effectively means that your points, every point you earn is worth 1 pence. We give that a nice value. We've got their solid value. We know they're worth 1 point if you use Revolut Pay. We know that 1 point also equals 1 Avios point. And if you convert Avios points into Nectar points, then it's 0.5p. So they're worth even less there. So there isn't no firm valuation of what they're worth. But that's a kind of a range you're looking at least, and potentially there's more in there as well. Now, if you're on the free tier of Revolut and you're earning 1 point for every £10 you spend, and you are going to use it to convert it into the cash, the Revolut Pay, that's the equivalent of 0.1%, which is not that amazing, really. I think that's something you really need to bear in mind if you're thinking about doing this. Is it worth using this card, particularly on the free one, to get 0.1% back? I would say no. It is not worth doing this because, as I've told you guys about so many times before, there are many other ways you can earn either points or air miles or cash, which pay far, far more than this. I don't want to sort of go over old details again, but I'll quickly give you my kind of the highlights there, just to give you a sense, a kind of comparison of how these things work against some of those kind of leading options out there. So Revolut, the free option, as we said, 1 point or 2 points if you're using them for stays, but roughly 1 point equals 1 penny. If you had the free Amex reward credit card or the free British Airways American Express credit card, then you would earn a point, would be equivalent to 0.5 pence. In terms of earnings, though, this is where it gets interesting. You earn 1 point for every £10 you spend with the Revolut for free. With Revolut Premium, it's 1 point for every £4 you spend. But with Amex, it's 1 point for every £1 you spend. So it is worth so much more. Although the point itself is worth half the amount, you're going to be getting 5 times as many. So straight away, just on the free Amex, that says to me that is worth so much more. And obviously there are other American Express cards which pay more than that. Now, some of them do have fees you need to take into account, although you can normally wipe those out with other deals and offers you get with Amex. Again, I've covered those when I spoke about Amex cards in the past. But of course, don't forget as well, there is the Chase debit card. The Chase debit card doesn't earn you points, but it does earn you 1% cash back on your purchases. That has a cap, £15 every single month, and you do have to meet some criteria in the month before in terms of adding £1,500 to the account in the month before. But again, I covered that before. It's very easy to hack that, to put some money in and out. But you get 1% back, which is again 10 times what you'll be getting the value of if it was Revolut. Now, yes, this is cash, not points against what you're trying to do, but ultimately, whatever you're doing here, there are much, much better options out there for earning your money from your normal spending. Now, yes, there might be ways, as we mentioned before, to game these Revolut points to get some extra ones in there, and maybe that might be worth looking at, just to do some of those to get some initial points, those welcome bonuses that come along, and I'm sure there'll be more of those offers as time goes on, and we'll share the best ones with you in our monthly current account updates and over at becleveryourcash.com when they're around. But broadly speaking, if you want to earn points, look at the different American Express cards, look at the different airline cards. Barclays card has Avios cards, Virgin, Atlantic have their own cards. There are other options out there. They are going to be far more lucrative for you, even with the quite high fees that come on some of those premium cards out there. You're still going to earn more points, get more from them. And if you're just thinking about, I use this just to get a little bit of money back, then be looking at the cashback cards instead. That Chase one won't cost you anything at all, and you'll earn way, way more on your everyday spending. Really, I think the only people who are going to benefit from these Rev points are people who already are fully committed to using Revolut every day. And I think on the whole, they probably could be better off looking at some of these options instead. But there you go. They are Rev points in a nutshell. As things develop, we'll obviously update you here on the channel. My name is Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. For more ways to make the most from your current account, check out these videos here.